Before the Tijuana Toads, we had these two incredibly stupid crows. So this is a review for Two Crows from Tacos, and with me today are two crows from New Jersey, New York area? I don't know, I couldn't think of anything else. SC MacPeter and, of course, Manuel himself, Manny Cruz, the Tooney Tenor. Say hi.
Hello, Manuel.
Yo soy un cuervo de Nueva Jersey.
Oi, gavolt.
I was like, I think I know what it is, but cuervo is crow in Spanish, so yeah. I'm a crow from Jersey over here. I'm eating all these, instead of tacos, I have a nice slice of pizza.
A few bits of info to get underway. So as mentioned, this is a review for Two Crows from Tacos, released on the 24th of November 1956. It's the 785th in the series, and it's directed by Friz Freleng. You can find this beautiful restoration in two ways. You've got the Looney Tunes Superstars Foghorn Leghorn DVD set. However, it's been given a beautiful upgrade in HD, the way I always say. HD, on the Looney Tunes Collector's Vault Volume 1 Blu-ray set. I have links below to those sets. It's on YouTube unless Warner Brothers themselves choose to upload it, and given the stereotypes in this short, it's highly unlikely. You're just better off getting the physical media releases, whichever way you want to watch it. But in case you haven't seen this one, I'll let one of you guys do the synopsis.
Hey, Manny, you want to do the synopsis?
Let's see. Pretty much, you got two crows. Tenemos dos cuervos que se llaman Jose y Manuel. Okay, so we have two crows from Mexico, Jose and Manuel, but might be a little different. I'll get to that later. Just hanging out, singing, playing la guitarra, and they see a grasshopper, and hilarity ensues. So in kind of like a vibe of like Wile E. Coyote and Gag-a-Minute, whatever, they do all their attempts to eat that crazy grasshopper. And actually, while I'm at it, how do you say grasshopper in Spanish? And I'm trying not to quote the Karate Kid right now. Well, that's when we get to Anthony's 80s movies talk. Saltamontes. That's how you say grasshopper? Saltamonte. I've never heard that before. Okay. Saltamonte Mexicano. Okay. The Mexican grasshopper. There you go. So there's my synopsis.
And your Spanish talk for the day.
Yo puedo seguir hablando español si tú quieres. I said I can keep talking in Spanish if you want.
See? Well, that'll be my reaction to the whole thing. C.
And C translates to yeah.
C equals yes, and rail means rail.
Rail.
Yeah.
There's number two.
So a few bits of trivia for this one. There's not too much here, but if you've seen the 1942 short, A Hop, Skip, and a Chump, that one has the Laurel and Hardy. It's a very similar idea. You could even see this as a kind of sort of remake, because when I rewatched this, I immediately went back to Hop, Skip, and a Chump.
Wait a minute. Are you alleging that Friz Freleng reuses ideas?
No. Never.
That he might possibly do this again in the future? Allegedly?
Allegedly, including even from this short, which is a beautiful segue to the next one, which is the voice acting. Because you'll notice there's no Mel Blanc credit, and if he doesn't do a voice in a short, there's no credit at all. So there's nothing at all. Nothing at all.
Nothing at all. Yeah. Nothing at all. Stupid sexy Blanc. If you could put the picture of Lunch Lady Doris, is like, there's very little Mel Blanc in this cartoon.
Although, I think you pointed out, SC, he might have done one of the little squeals around the beginning of the short. It's possible, but we can't say for certain.
There are certainly times where he may have done minor vocal effects, but still didn't get credit. I think we've talked about this before in cartoons like The Bedevil Bruin and situations like that, where he sometimes gets credited for doing vocal effects. In this case, he may have done some of like the horse squealing at the beginning, because I believe Mel Blanc could actually do a horse noise.
It's just one of those things, without further documentation, we can only guess. But if you want to know who actually does voice the two, and this comes from Keith Scott's wonderful Cartoon Voices book, we have Don Diamond playing Jose, and Tom Holland, no, not that Tom Holland, thank you very much, a different Tom Holland, playing Manuel. And I alluded to the fact that, what? Friz Freleng repeating himself? Well, later on, we have the Tijuana Toads, and that was the DePratty Freleng studio, and honestly, this short is kind of like the blueprint for that kind of thing. Those two voice actors voice the same kind of role as Pancho and Rancho. Hehe, that rhymes.
LOL.
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 This sort of feels like Freleng beginning to recycle ideas and trying to reinvent them. In this case, he took the Hop, Skip, and a Chump, and he basically put a South of the Border theme around it to reinvent it, which obviously made these cartoons a lot more popular. Why that was, I have a feeling that calypso music was very popular around this time, which may have ignited part of Speedy's popularity, besides his heroic nature. And I think that definitely speaks true because Freleng does revisit the Mexican flavor in a few non-Speedy cartoons, such as this one. And eventually this became the basis of the Tijuana Toads at the Patty Freleng, including the same voice actors.
Again, Freleng recycling ideas? No. It's interesting, though, that the story is credited to Ted Pierce, and at this time, he was actually doing writing for McKimson's unit. So why he did this? Who can say? Maybe he was just doing this as a quickie thing.
This may have just been a gap in both Freleng and Pierce's schedule. I definitely think this cartoon wasn't a priority in Friz's schedule during this period.
At the end of the day, this one's actually one of the more solid shorts. But the next short we are going to be looking at is actually Three Little Bops. That's our recording session, and it's funny that in that one you have Jerry Chinnicky, whereas this one he's not present at all. We just got 2 credited animators.
Yeah, Virgil Ross and Art Davis. I think Bob Matz was Jerry Chinnicky's assistant around this period, so it makes sense why he'd be credited. And Chinnicky probably gave him a few pieces of animation in Three Little Bops. I think this one was around in the same production, or at least produced around the same time as Three Little Bops, which would explain why Chinnicky is missing. Chinnicky was definitely a very fast animator. He definitely had a way of doing art that could be done quickly, so that would explain why he could do the lion's share of Three Little Bops, and Art Davis and Virgil Ross could just do this one. They were both also experienced animators who could do animation quickly, but this cartoon definitely sort of reflects the budget cuts that had already been present in the cartoons around this period, but it's still fine. These cartoons certainly got worse later. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a bad cartoon, it's just that there's not a lot in it to begin with.
One of the things that we were looking at is in terms of the score. And Manny, this is of course where you come in. For those that don't know, I keep Manny in a cage and it's got a glass front. So if I need musical knowledge, it's like in case of musical knowledge required, break glass. And then I release Manny. So Manny, we were trying to look into what was the song that was sung in the very beginning. We kind of got some half answers here. We're not quite sure.
Well, you know what time it is.
It's time for Manny's music time with music trivia for you today. Bum.
Now you're going to do the Spanish translation, right?
Okay, es tiempo. It's time for. Es tiempo para. It's time for a minute. It's time for. Es tiempo para el tiempo de música de Emmanuel con. I don't know how to say trivia. Well, with trivia de música para ustedes hoy. Okay, cool. That was eso. Eso era terrible. That was terrible. All right.
Wow. We mentioned how sometimes songs in Spanish, if you translate it to English, it just sounds absolutely horrible and sometimes even nonsensical. Now it's the other way around.
Oh my, yeah. English is a very awkward and hard language to sing in. But then if you start singing, especially in a romance language like Spanish, Portuguese, French, Italian, it's way easier to sing. But yeah, just now I'm like trying to mentally translate. And trivia is curiosidades, so curiosities. So I guess there's not an actual literal translation. But anyway, let's talk about music, not translation, because I am not a lyricist. I mean, Howard Ashman, may he rest in peace. He was a great lyricist. And Al Dubin, but me, not so much. All right, when it comes to the cues, there ain't much. We literally have a Merrily We Roll Along, and the only other listed cue according to the cue sheets, thanks again to the wonderful work of Daniel Goldmark, is a tisket and a tasket. That's it. Now, going back to the song at the very beginning that Jose and Manuel are playing on la guitarra, it does sound like it's a familiar tune, like when I was listening to it, Anthony, you said it as well.
Mañana grande hasta la vista poco más y valiente.
And when I was watching and listening, I was picking up the words, but since I always like watching cartoons or anything with subtitles, so I wanted to have all the words. And to me, it just sounded like a random story. I got a big house, hey kid, see you later, and that's it. And Anthony, you said that you actually pulled up the literal translation.
Yep, and I'm not going to sing it. Sorry, guys. I know you guys were hoping. But what they're singing translates literally to, the boy talks to you, big house tomorrow, see you later, a little more firewater or liquor, depending on how you want to translate that, aguardiente. That's like
Oh, aguardiente. That's like it's an alcoholic drink. Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, happy crazy man, my house is your house, and go with God.
It sounds about right. Literally, it's like, let's go drink some aguardiente at home, have a good time, and go with God. That's like a common see you later, vaya con Dios. Yeah, that sounds about right. As I say, keep in mind that, yes, I am the token Latino of this commentary. I am, yes, in case some people forget, especially in the past, I don't know, decade, Latinos are not a monolith. We are an ethnic group. We share the common language of Spanish. This cartoon obviously is a reflection, and some could argue, a stereotyping of Mexican culture. I myself, I'm not Mexican. I don't have any family from Mexico, and SC will agree with me. In this part of the United States, the dominant Latino groups are more like Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, Cubans.
Yeah.
But Mexico is mainly like in California and Texas and Arizona and the southern states. But here it's more like Latino cultures from the Caribbean. And that's where I fit in because my mother is a native born and raised in Puerto Rico. And my father's parents were both born in Cuba. So I have Puerto Rican Cuban descent. But as we were saying prior to the commentary, SC and I are both Americans, and we got our buddy Anthony from Australia. Yeah, we have the same language, but obviously there's differences in our culture. There's differences in words, like he lives in a flat and he puts his groceries in the boot of his car, and the tap in the shower, and you take a lift to go to the second floor of a building.
You're just like a real Australian right there.
Pretty much. And now I'm thinking, because it popped in my head, for example, Mexicans, they call beans frijoles. I don't call them frijoles, I call them habichuelas. So again, there's all different cultural things.
And in terms of watching this short, I honestly maybe saw it once back on that Foghorn set, and that's it. I only saw it again recently now for this review, and yeah, this is one of those nice little, I don't want to call it a gem, but just something that, it's solid. It's a solid short, just nothing too spectacular.
So I have the Foghorn set, but I never finished watching it. When you told me, hey, you want to do this commentary, you were like, por favor, Emanuel, ayúdame. Tú puedes grabar esto. Okay,
See, he can speak Spanish.
Yeah. That was Anthony. Oi, Emanuel. No, that was terrible.
Wow. Ossified Mexican Spanish.
Ossified Mexican Spanish. I mean, hey, next time you go to a Mexican spot one day, see if...
Hey, el taco, per favor.
Muy bueno, mate.
That's it. That's the one.
There you go. Cut. That's it. We're done.
I probably didn't really see this one that much, probably until I did a deeper dive with the library. I never had the Foghorn disc. I only really went for the Golden Collections and a few of the other superstars.
That was the thing. So yeah, I bought the set, never watched it. And prior to the recording, I kept assuming, because of Jose and Manuel, I knew they were in it, obviously. I kept thinking it was a Speedy cartoon. And I watched it, I was like...
That's what I thought.
I'm like, Speedy's a grasshopper since when? I'm assuming maybe I saw this on Nickelodeon as a kid. When I think of Jose Manuel, instantly I think of Speedy Gonzalez because I remember them from those cartoons. So I'm going to chalk it as a big fat no.
And the thing is that Jose and Manuel had a very weird evolution. So they became cats in a Speedy short. Then they became mice in a Speedy short where they were allies or something. And then back to being crows later on in, I think, Crow's Feet.
This giving me Babbitt and Costello vibes. Goes from cats to mice and all that.
See, again, consistency will put the comic book eye hats about and complain about continuity, of course. Because clearly that's all they were thinking about when making these things. Whereas if you asked Friz about it, if he was still alive, he'd be like, I don't know, stop bothering me. He would probably have that mentality.
Bunch of nerds.
Exactly. But we'll go through the short from start to finish. I mean, there really isn't too much to, I guess, pick through. We'll keep this as comprehensive as we can, but there's really, again, not too much observations. Aside from the fact that, yeah, this looks stunning. This restoration is beautiful. And out of the two sets, definitely look this one up on the collector's vaults. Definitely pick it up there because this looks stunning. As we open the short and we pan that beautiful background. And this is like your typical shortcut that Friz would do. Just as much still panning of backgrounds and that kind of thing. Hey, it works. This first scene, it's your typical Mexican thing that they were doing at the time where they'll just be lazy majority of the time, but then they'll just spring into action when they need something. So in this case, they need food, which is the grasshopper. So pretty typical.
Yeah. I think this was done to pad out the cartoon to a degree because it is 1 minute long. We don't really get any real conflict until the 2 minute mark of this cartoon.
In fact, if you look at the shot of... See, I mixed the two up. I keep forgetting who's Jose and Manuel, if I'm being honest. But one of them playing guitar, and you'll notice, and this is why the HD version is great, the arm it's just animated. His right arm, like, it looks like that the other cell is just flat, but that arm is a slightly different color in the sleeve. So it looks like they really went nice little shortcut there.
The different cell colors was done to make them easier for the cameraman for the layers.
One is just a held cell, and it's just the head, the right arm, and the left hand just animated. That's it. It works. It's not a criticism. It's just, yeah, an observation, as I always say. But they spring up into action, and I like that little thing where, I'm pretty sure this is Art Davis, when they spring up to action and one even rides the guitar like a horse. We even hear it in that horse effect too.
Most of this is Art Davis. It's weird that Virgil Ross doesn't get a lot of this footage, considering most of it is character-based with them just singing. But yeah, he does do the whole guitar slam. It's very nicely animated. You get a very good sense of weight that this really does hurt.
One shot I thought was interesting was when one of them finally notices the grasshopper just sleeping in the hat. Of course, the focal point is the grasshopper being that green color, but it's such an interesting flat background.
I think it really works just because it focuses your eyes on where it's supposed to be, which is the grasshopper. Very nice rendering of the background.
Great stuff. Great stuff.
Correct answer. But I just love the initial reaction. Instead of realizing, oh, the grasshopper's asleep, I can just grab it. No. Initial reaction is just to grab the guitar and just smack the other on the head.
I do think that's very funny, but also well observed, because that's what most people do to a bug. They smack it, they don't grab it.
There's not even, hey, stand still, nothing. He just grabs his guitar and just smacks him on the head. Just great stuff, as you might say, Manny. But sets everything up nicely that these two, they want to go and get this grasshopper. And it's just your stock standard, hey, we're going to jump off the tree. The hat becomes a parachute. Now, is that true, Manny? I know, again, Latino thing is not monolith, I know, but those hats, do they work as parachutes?
Let me get back to you. I'll try it out. If you don't hear back from me, then that means it didn't work.
But this whole scene here, though, of them actually chasing this grasshopper who ends up going in a hole, we've seen this before. And that's not a knock. It's just something we've seen constantly. But I do like how Friz tops himself here. So he hits one of the crows in the head. The other one hits him back, but then you even got the nice little wave as well, and then there's an extra smack on the head.
I do love that. It is a nice scene by Art Davis. Again, very nice use of weight, but also I love the spacing of the drawings. There's just something so comical about how the characters are moving in gravity.
It's nothing.
Stupid.
Again, we set everything up, and that's like, what, a third of the cartoon is just that one extended bit of them singing, noticing the grasshopper, and then doing a little chase, and then...
We are almost at the 3-minute mark after he gets hit again.
Now, Manny, you were mentioning something before we recorded when it comes to them flying through the air.
Oh, yes. So I was rewatching the cartoon, and obviously I know the characters are Jose and Manuel. Manuel. In case you guys don't remember or know, my real name is Emmanuel. Emmanuel. Manny's my nickname. I used to introduce myself. I'm like, hey, my name is Emmanuel, but you call me Manny. And now 90% of people call me Manny. The only exception to that is my family. My family does not call me Manny or Emmanuel. They pronounce my name the Spanish way, Emmanuel. Or also too, like if I'm around a native Spanish speaker, they'll call me Emmanuel. But when I was rewatching the cartoon, when the two crows are flying, Jose calls out, I thought he said, hey, comma, Manuel.
Emmanuel.
I listened to it multiple times, and it sounds like it's saying Emmanuel. The first original version of my name, because literally that's the name my mother gave me. I did a double take, and I kept going back, and I'm like, I don't know. So I'm going to ask the people in the comments, does it sound like he's saying, hey, comma, Manuel, or Emmanuel, like my real name? And a part of me was like, ooh, that's so cool. They said my real name in the Warner Brothers short. So that's all of my little, Mr. Anthony, I have a problem. You know, you hear it all the time. So big whoop.
Your name is immortalized.
What I thought was interesting when looking through this again was that I noticed that the grasshopper also wears the sombrero and costume similar to the crows. It's interesting that they don't portray any sort of American-Hispanic relations, because usually I would think that they would make him like a cowboy type, dress him up with a cowboy hat and such, but no, they didn't go for that. I thought that was really interesting that they didn't do that obvious choice of contrast.
It's like he's wearing green pants, a green shirt, the red necktie thing, which you guys will probably be yelling, it's a such and such, stupid.
It's a bandana.
Bandana, there we are. See, I am stupid.
Wait, see what, not wearing a green hat?
But he's got a green face, so...
Indeed.
Yeah, it's weird.
The grasshopper in the green hat. I just keep thinking of that cartoon. By the way, go buy Collector's Vault Volume 2 because that cartoon is on there.
Yes. So we get a nice extended scene of the two crows just barreling down. They can't stop somehow. I just like the way gravity works here, even though clearly it's breaking all kinds of physics. It's a great bit of animation there. Again, I think by Art Davis.
Yeah, I love Manuel's just overly excited face. He looks so demented as he's just smiling, preparing for this crash. And this is kind of reminiscent of the opening of Two Gophers from Texas, where they're debating over who goes in the hole, but it's a grasshopper just waiting to see as much of this as possible. Not as sharply timed. I believe there's only a 1 frame difference between when they go in the hole and when the dog passes by, but that might be why he was given this piece to animate, because he had come up with the original sort of gag in Two Gophers.
Another one of the Friz Freleng shortcuts where the two smash into each other, but we barely even see it happen. It's this beautiful moment of special effects covering up the whole impact. It works well, but if you freeze frame it, you get some really wonky drawings, but it's great though.
I definitely agree it still works. I just think these gags were done a little funny earlier. But now we go into the section animated by Virgil Ross.
Yes, I was going to point out that this one looks a little bit different, so... This thing, I got a real kick out of just how stupid that crow is. One pretends to be a grasshopper, and so the other one gets duped for it. I thought this was a great gag. I really did.
Yeah, it's a nice little character bit, and I like that. I like how he keeps them looking cute, because you can definitely see the big contrast between Art Davis and Virgil Ross in this cartoon, because no matter what he does, Virgil Ross just can't draw these characters too demented or too mean. He could draw the big one looking hurt or just phased out when he's hit, but he can't make him look mean when he goes to hit him back.
But here it works.
Yeah.
I think that if Virgil Ross had to animate something that's less deranged, if you will, I think this is a good shot for him to do. But man, I was laughing a lot at this big here. The peak stupidity.
Say el gran chapulín, vámonos a comer. We're gonna eat a big grasshopper. Manuel. See? I am not a grasshopper. No? No. Okay.
I just love how Manuel drops into the floor and then just immediately steps over him.
It's just like, oh, there's the grasshopper. It's a great bit of animation there. So again, this isn't a masterpiece by any means, but it's funny. It's
Animators
great.
are still on their A game. They're not terribly boxed in yet. And then we get this sort of Dynamite setup that we've seen a lot of times already.
Yeah, but we still get the plussing here, though. First of all, how big is this Dynamite? I like it, the inconsistency of the size of this stick of Dynamite. It just, feels like it's bigger in one shot, but yeah, whatever. Manny's so upset by this, right?
I hope they fire somebody for that blunder.
Thank you.
Chef's kiss.
But we're doing the whole thing now where, okay, the friendship, I guess, breaks up that little moment where one is like, nah, I'm going to have this all to myself, but they swap this Dynamite and, we get the aftermath, like another shortcut.
Jose, this must be yours. I don't understand how it is in my possession. Excuse you, senor. Excuse you, please dispense me, sahib. Help, Manuel! Manuel, help!
I do like how it cuts back to Art Davis after they're blown up, because now you get to see these crows that are damaged, and I like how he handles the shift in their hair, and they try to fool the grasshopper. It's nicely timed, but yeah, this really is just the final part of this cartoon, where I guess Freleng was just trying to give a nice energetic finale, even though there really isn't much of a gag here, until we get to the cactus.
I do like the shot of the grasshopper listening on. That's a very appealing drawing. That was a great little shot. That's Manny listening on. He's like hearing, do I hear Simpsons quotes in the next room? I shall walk into the room and say my own, because clearly that's what it is. But I like the fact that they have the tattered clothing. They try and trick the grasshopper thinking, oh, well, we'll just find another stupid grasshopper, but then they come back and their clothes are all fixed. I mean, are we to expect that these are magical Mexican outfits here? Sorry, I had to. But this guitar that they have seems to be very indestructible. I mean, how much damage has this guitar had throughout the whole cartoon? Yet it still seems to be pretty solid and working at the very end, too, when they play again. But we get that beautiful shot of that cactus. I mean, it just shows that both of them are incredibly stupid. One just seems to be a little bit more stupid than the other. And they think this cactus is a person. It's like, weird gag, but I got a chuckle out of that. But yeah, we end with that song and that beautiful background painting with That's All Folks done in a rather different way than usual, right, guys?
Yeah, but it's under a really beautiful backdrop. I definitely think Pratt and the background painter Irv Wyner were studying Mexican or Latin American art for this sort of inspiration, and it works really beautifully, the whole pink sky and this sort of bluish cacti.
Oh, it's stunning. It's absolutely stunning. But we end right there with them going, oh, we're just not going to bother getting a grasshopper. We'll just now drunkenly sing, and that's pretty much it. All right. So this feels like more of a 1940s short dressed up like a 50s short in a kind of way, but it's solid. It's funny. I get why some people might be a little bit uncomfortable watching this one because of its depictions of Mexicans as though they're lazy unless they're forced to do something. In this case, eat. Still, the animation's great from the two animators here. The backgrounds are fantastic. The voice acting's great. The two actors definitely have great chemistry. Whether that worked in Tijuana Toads, I'll leave that up to you guys to let me know. But yeah, I think this one, I don't know, 6 out of 10. It's solid, but it's not a masterpiece. But yeah, it's fine for what it is. What do you guys say?
I'd also give it a 6 out of 10. This is very much just a rework of old gags with the South of the Border theme. I can see why Freleng kept doing this sort of thing because it obviously kept the cartoons popular, especially in Latin America where these cartoons were liked, and they're still popular today, mainly the Speedy Gonzales ones, of course, but I can see why they stuck to the South of the Border flavor for non-Speedy Gonzales shorts as well.
Yo voy a decir lo mismo que ustedes, que era un muñeco bueno, pero no es mucho para decir de este. So, 6, yeah. Voy a decir el mismo número, 6.
C? In other
C.
words, it's 6 out of 10. You're scoring it, yeah?
Yeah, I said pretty much everything you guys said I agree with, so 6 out of 10.
I actually understood in the context, but if you ask me to be the next UN translator for Mexico, no, I'm the last person you want to hire, of course, but...
Yeah. And in case some people may listen as I'm not a native Spanish speaker, it's my second language, so I do make mistakes here and there. I mean, ahora yo puedo hablar mal de mis amigos. No, I won't do that. I said I could talk bad about my friends right now.
You can.
Indeed.
Indeed. But that will do it for this one. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and until next time, take care.
That's all, folks.
Adios, amigos.
See?
Mañana grande. Hasta la vista, poco más y valiente.